it. The rest of us are like, fine being poor or being the way we are. Raise your hands again if you want to be famous at the same time and say, I. Wow, that is a good one. Imagine being interviewed by the #1 news daily in the country and journalists calling you up to schedule future appointments. Imagine the chief marketing officer of a Fortune 100 company inviting you to deliver a talk at their company's annual convention. But life isn't always that sweet, is it? Have you ever almost got killed? Have you ever seen death this close and just managed to escape it? If you had been with me on the 28th of February 2002, you would have experienced 25.7 kilometers of sheer misery. When I had the most life-threatening road trip that I've ever taken in the middle of a night in an ambulance. I was with my parents and a 6-year-old sibling, along with a few other families. We were being rescued from the horrendous Gujarat riots and being transported to the airport in the middle of a night in an ambulance with rattling glasses. Suddenly, I heard an old man croon a tune. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Oh God, if only we could make it alive, I would truly believe that you are, you are, you are. My heart sank as we managed to escape the burning city and landed at the airport. It was indeed my tryst with destiny. Exactly a year ago, Gujarat was struck with the biggest disaster that mankind had ever seen in India. If you had been with me on the 26th of January 2001, you would have witnessed buildings and towers fall apart like a mere pack of cards within a span of just 2 minutes. When Gujarat experienced an earthquake of 8.9 Richter scale and the entire city was devastated. I was in Ahmedabad that time. We spent the next 2 months in a rehabilitation camp. Have you ever faced public insult and humiliation? Raise your hands if you know any negative people in your life and say, I. I'm sure we all do, right? Had you been with me on the 8th of August, 1997, mark the date. On the 8th of August, 1997, oh, what a wonderful afternoon it was. I was getting back from school. You would have seen me sandwiched between 2 girls because our very own Patel Bhai, what he did was that he stuffed in 20 people into a Maruti van when it could take only 10. So I was sandwiched between these 2 girls wearing grey and white tunics, getting back from school. Suddenly, one of my Guju friends, Adil, he said, hey Sharmin, you know what I heard? That you've got through this very famous role of Belly, no, in that play, in that adaptation of that play, The Beauty and the Beast. Basking in full glory with, I'd bagged the best role of Belle out of the merchant's 3 daughters in the play called Beauty and the Beast. It's like, oh yes, you've heard it right, that I'm the most beautiful role that I've got, and I was like, as kids, how we are, all chilled out and stuff. No, I was just wondering that how would it be like when the Beast would marry a defective belly? It's like, what are you saying? Defective belly, what do you mean? No, for the first time, the students would hear, a stammering belly and they would say, "Oh my God, maaf karjo, what a beauty, belly beauty, ha ha ha." I was like, what are you saying? You know, I mean, I was a little shaken up. I didn't really know. First of all, defective, and then some other statements that he made. Tame shu bole che re Sharmin, come on re, maaf karjo mane. Belly beauty? My spine froze. My little secret was just out in front of 20 other people that I had a stammering problem. Yes, I had a speech defect as a kid. I was so tormented and distressed that I didn't go to school for the next 3 days. Locked myself up in a room and just cried. But God, why? Why do you have to give this thing to me? Such an unfortunate handicap to have a stammering problem. It was the best birthday gift that I ever received. After having completed my engineering degree in 2010, I got placed with a consulting firm and I was working there for 2 years, doing analytics for Fortune 100 companies, helping them increase their sales and enlarge their businesses. After having worked there for like 2 years, like a corporate drone, literally working for 14 hours in a day, I finally realized that this is not my thing. So I quit and just left everything with hardly any savings. Have you ever imagined traveling the entire country with just 1,500 rupees in your pocket? So I backpacked and took off. I was traveling everywhere, doing theatre, meeting theatre enthusiasts, doing stage shows, street plays, traveling like nomads. I was doing the craziest things possible on a shoestring budget. I had bread and masala chai for breakfast, jalebis for lunch, and milk and boiled eggs for dinner. And wow, it was an experience, I tell you. Just to keep up with the calorie content, I would carry 1 pack of sugar with me every day. And this was what I was doing for the next 4 months. What I always wanted to do. Live my life like a free bird. If there was that one word that would define that feeling, it would be ecstasy, ecstasy, and ecstasy. Nothing else. I always wanted to write. You know, I had this thing of writing something. I used to write blogs, you know, like small articles and stuff. But I never really knew how to write in such a way so that it would create an impact on the reader's mind. Unfortunately, in my family, I belong to a family of doctors and scientists and, you know, NASA people and lawyers and all that. So the only emphasis that was put was on reading curriculum-based books. You know, math and physics were my favorite subjects, or rather made to be my favorite subjects. So I didn't really read anything other than that in the first 20 years of my life. So in my pursuit of being a best-selling author and delivering a best-selling book, I began reading. So after having read around 50 best-selling books, I could actually predict the storyline of the 51st one. I realized that there was something common between all of them. And you won't believe what happened next. My endeavors finally paid off. I created a formula about how to write my first book. And using that formula, I wrote my first book in less than a week. This year in January, my book was announced a bestseller by the Oxford bookstores and the New Indian Express. I have been through a harrowing experience writing my first book. I would write something in there, write in there, that's it. So I decided that I didn't want anyone else to undergo the same experience that I did, the same struggle that I had to undergo. So I thought, why not do something? I have a formula, converted that formula into a product and launched my own website called yourfirstbook.com. And based on this, what I started doing was that I started training corporates, individuals, and students who were budding authors and who wanted to write and share their stories with the world to impact millions of lives. I started training them and giving them workshops. And after doing this, I've seen wonderful results from someone who could hardly write a page in a day, wrote a novel in a month. Have you ever felt the need to speak? How many of us love to talk? Say aye. Aye. That's it? Rest of you guys just love to listen, is it? Oh wow, okay, great. No, anyways, I mean, like, to be a good speaker, you should be a good listener first, but yeah. I'm sure each one of us here, each one of you would agree that we all have felt the need to speak to someone, to express ourselves at some point or the other in our lives. That is exactly how I felt when I started my own theatre company. I wanted to give the world a platform to express themselves freely. Just go up on stage and speak your heart out. It's totally a different experience when you get into another person's shoes and witness the world. And trust me, that feeling you get when you hear an applaud from a full house audience is nothing but the most rewarding and the most fulfilling experience. My theatre company is called the Arthritis Company. We enthuse, enchant, and enthrall our audiences in such a way that they fall on their knees in surprise. So the Arthritis Company will make you weak in your knees. From having a speech defect to becoming a speaker on a stage like this. From being a non-reader to becoming a published author. From engineering to theatre. My life has been governed by perfect blasphemies all over. I'd like to share with you the evolution of my life in the last 2 years, and this is how it looked. Could we play the video? Okay, it's a little shady here. So, founder of the Arthritis Company and author of You and yourfirstbook.com as well. Websites are so and so, I'll tell you that. If there was that one message that I was to give you all today, that one secret, it would be that 100% of my success is a function of my attitude and not my aptitude. I repeat, 100% of my success is a function of my attitude and not my aptitude. If I could, you can. If I am, you will. Because you own yourself. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Just in case, I'm not finished yet. Just in case if you guys would ever want to write your own book or express your ideas or even write a blog or anything, you could always get in touch with me. through my websites, sharminali.com, sharminali.com, or yourfirstbook.com, your-first-book.com. Please do not hesitate to drop me a message, and I'd love to get in touch with you and serve you in any way possible. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.